point, as you can see, trying to move in these roaches, but that's just not going to be enough since roaches do not attack air. And at this point, 13, once your proxy has been successfully stalled, and I am at the point of moving into Mutalisks, what is your next move typically at this point?
Well, at that point, I tend to go a little bit more defensive because I am at such a disadvantage there. My gateways have been taken out. A lot of my supply has been taken out. So that's why I built so many cannons in my main base there, just so I wouldn't be taken out by those roaches.
Now, the one thing that you do that I haven't heard you mention yet is that if you can, you sneak a proxy pylon, because at this point, you are about to the point where you're going to be using the warp and technology. So if you can get a proxy pylon in one of the natural expansions inside of the base, then you can continue to warp in units on the offensive later.
Yeah, that's something that I try to do regardless of the strategy that I'm using. I like to sneak that proxy pylon in there just in case they don't see it and I can warp some units on later on in the game. And one thing I do like to do with that pylon is I like to put it on the side of the player that I try to slow down more. I tried to slow down that red Terran, take out his economy, and that's basically going to cause him to not expand to his natural.
Right, because they are not very likely to discover that pylon unless they actually try to expand over there, which at this point, since you have hurt them economically so bad, you can see they've only got a handful of SCVs back up already. So at this point, they are not able to expand there, which means that pylon is going to go undetected.
Yeah, these guys are in big trouble now. They basically went heavy ground to stop all my zealots. They stopped them successfully, but now you're coming in with air units. Exactly,
and you can see that he does have a Hydralisk den up, but he had so much of his money invested in the roaches that there's really not much that he can do to get any Hydralisks up right now, because since I countered after the roaches, his overlords were all taken out by my Mutalisks. So as you can see, he is heavily in the red right now, because he does not have anything. He does not have any overlords to continue to produce, although he is building a lot of spore crawlers right now at this expansion. And of course, there are some turrets by red here. Now, at this point, it looks like you have started to warp in some units, because we are aware that now this is kind of the double-edged sword of this strategy. Is you initially attacked with ground, so they went heavy anti-ground, heavy anti-zealot, and then I move in with the Mutalisks, so now they are forced to go heavy anti-air. So you see a lot of spore colonies. A lot of spore crawlers rather, and a lot of turrets going up. You can see the Red Terran even trying to build some turrets for his ally. But at this point, you are starting to go heavy ground. So once again, they are pretty much forced to defend completely what they are defending against, which they are not going to have enough to take on the ground army and the air army that they have in their base right now.
Yeah, these guys are doing exactly what we want them to. We want them to do a hard counter for those mutas like they are, and then I'll come in and take them out with my ground forces.
Which it looks like you're moving out now. Primarily Zealots, you do have a few Stalkers in the mix there as well, but since there's only one Marauder left standing from that Mutalisk attack, these Zealots are pretty much going to be able to have their way with the Terran army at this point. So at this point, the game is pretty much over. It looks like Kigger just pretty much rage quits there, doesn't even GG. More Mutalisks coming down for me at this point, and his ally has left as well. So anyways, that's the strategy. Just to recap here, to let you know what I do. Again, I do a 12 drone to a spawning pool, so 12 pool, and then immediately after that, I go up to 15 drones, then build my 2 extractors, get back up to 15 drones. Once my spawning pool finishes, I build a Queen Overlord and another drone. And then as soon as I have the ability, once that Queen finishes, I have the money and the gas to upgrade to a lair. And then after that upgrade has started, I will start the new expansion over here at my natural, get some more geysers up there, and basically just try to macro up as many drones as possible. Once this layer finishes, you should have enough gas and minerals to build the Spire, which will let you get the fast Mutalisks out. And hopefully with this quick expansion, you should have enough minerals and enough gas to get out a decent amount of Mutalisks pretty early on in the game. And once again, 13 doing the rush. 13, do you want to run them through your proxy build one more time just so they know what you're doing here for the build to do this initial harassment, which allows the fast tech to mutas?
Yeah, just real quick, it's pretty basic. I build 10 probes. Then I build my proxy pylon on 10.
Which you usually, again, build in the high-yield base by the ramp, right?
Exactly. And again, I like to do it there so that I can take the high-yield minerals later on and already have them defended. After I build that proxy pylon, I build 2 gateways at that proxy pylon. While those 2 gateways are warping in, I build 2 more probes, and I basically mine with 12 probes the whole time while I'm pumping zealots into their base. And while that's happening, Akai here should be getting his Mutalisks quick enough to where we can take them out.
Right. Now, the key to the Zealot harassment early on, as you noticed, is getting the Zealots into the base, because if you have a Terran or Protoss player that's doing a hard wall off like the Terran player did in this game, you want to make sure you get up there before they get that hard wall off finished, because if 13 had waited just a little bit longer, he wouldn't have been able to get his Zealots up in there, and although he may have been able to break down a supply depot or something to get in there, it wouldn't have been as effective, because that would have given the Red Terran player enough time to build up some Marines and Marauders to defend against that. So again, so important to keep that probe. Once you build the pylons and the gateways over here for this proxy, while you're building those first few Zealots, you want to get that probe in there and really scout around so you can tell if they're trying to wall off, and if they are trying to wall off, how much longer you have to build Zealots before you have to attack in order to get in there before they complete that wall off, so your harassment can be effective.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing that you need to make sure that you do is you save your chrono boost for those gateways while you're producing the Zealots. Without that, you probably won't be able to get your Zealots in there in time.
Right, and again, that chrono boost is available for 25 energy at the Nexus. Very, very key ability for the Protoss in the early game especially. So, anyways, thanks guys for watching. Hopefully this helps you guys out on Twilight Fortress. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of this, so I am glad that 13 and I were able to find a build that works for us like 80% of the time. So even when we play this map, we know that it's going to be a relatively quick game, and it's usually going to result in a win. But anyways, 13, thanks for mapping out that Protoss build for us, and we will hopefully be posting more 2v2 strategies in the near future. Thanks for watching. GG.
GG.